Hello, YouTube. This is the Bucket coming back at you again with a new toy and a cherished possession of mine. And this is the M1914, made under German occupation with the title of Pistole 657N, or as it's colloquially known, the Kongsberg Colt. So, to give a little bit of background on this firearm, John Moses Browning had created the 1911, and he set up a deal where if you were in North America, England or Ireland, you had to get your guns through Colt. If you were in mainland Europe, you had to go through Fabrique Nationale, or as we refer to them now, FN. And that's the rules that governed how you got access to John Moses Browning's patents. So the Norwegians were using the Nagant revolver for their military, and its age was showing. It was a good gun for what it was, for when it was, and it fit the niche that it needed to. But it was coming very clear around 1911 that auto loaders were the future, and so they decided to run a series of pistol trials. And every single time, the Colt won. It was just the better gun. The Luger had reliability issues. The Borchardt was ridiculous. The Krag guns that they could come up with just weren't as good. And while the government kept saying, "Hey, can't we find a Norwegian gun to fill this?" The reliability wasn't there. And John Moses Browning, which was making the best firearms at the time, or was designing the best designs, was the way that you really wanted to go. So, when they finally decided the Colt 1902 and 38 ACP was the direction that they wanted to go, they went to Colt, and Colt said, "Yeah, we'd love to sell you these guns." And they said, "Well, we don't really want to buy guns from you. We want to lease the rights to your gun. And we want to make them in the Kongsberg Waffenfabrik in Kongsberg, Norway. And we just want to pay you a licensing fee." And there was a legal battle that came through, but it ended up coming through that FN really was going to be the benefactor. So while FN has never made a 1911, they were going to get to get all the profits from all of Colt's hard work. And when they decided they were going to try to do this, they needed to get FN's approval. Well, around this time when they were working on it, a little thing called World War I happened, and the Germans came in and took over Belgium, which is where FN, Fabrique Nationale, is located at. And the people of Belgium just refused to work for the Germans. And yet the factory was still under German control at the time. So the Germans were just looking at it going, well, we can get free money. And they decided that they would sell the rights to Colt's gun to the Norwegians through the Belgian company of Fabrique Nationale for 25,000 kroner, which is, considering it was for in perpetuity, that was a steal of a deal. So the Norwegians start making these beautiful firearms, and they made a total of 22,000 plus M1914s as a Norwegian sidearm. They actually originally went to the Navy, but very short order after that, they started going to the Army. And, everybody was happy except for, everybody. Colt wasn't happy that they didn't get the benefits of designing this firearm or or finishing up this firearm. Fabrique Nationale didn't enjoy the fact that the invading Germans had gotten all the benefits of selling the rights to it. Norway was pretty happy that they were getting a really awesome firearm for, frankly, not that much money. Now, God doth have a sense of humor, and the Norwegians knew that they were kind of doing something shady, and lo and behold, World War II happens, and the Germans go, well, we need access to what you've got, Norway, so we're going to go ahead and invade. And they went ahead and took over towns like Kongsberg, and the Norwegian Quislings came in and were more than willing to start stamping these puppies out for Nazi use. So this gun here was designed, or was produced in 1941, and it was designed to work with the Questlings, the Nazi collaborators. Now, you know, there were some SS units that ended up serving in Russia, and these may have come with them, but really these firearms, because Norway was producing 45 ACP, or as they called it, 11.25 millimeter, they were really designed to work with a war effort in Norway. So that's primarily what these guns were used for. The great thing about these guns is we know very specific numbers. We know the serial code range. So this particular firearm was made in 1941, and this is one of 4,099 made. In total, Nazi 1911s, there's a total of 8,223 that were produced. These are beautifully made guns. The machining is very, very good, as wartime production is what it is. The phosphate enamel finish is maybe not as beautiful as the blued ones when they were originally done. You can see on my version here, which is in relatively good condition, there's some wear at the muzzle. If you look at the front strap, a lot of that enamel is gone. It shows dings and marks probably a little bit more than what you would like, but this is an extremely rare firearm. Again, 8,223 of these were made. To put that into perspective, the P-38, which was made for the Nazi military, made over 1 million P-38s, and there's only 8,223 of these that were ever made under Nazi occupation. What's really kind of to add on to the rarity of that, not only did a USGI have to get up to Norway to go ahead and pick one of these up, we really weren't there. So for one of these to make it back to the US is kind of huge. So I really, Ian McCullum on Forgotten Weapons had done a video on these, and I was like, man, how cool would that be if I could ever get one of those? And so when this came up for sale, it was probably a little bit more than I should have spent, but I was like, man, I don't even know if I'll ever see one of these again. This is literally the only Kongsberg Colt that I have ever seen in person. And so when I had an opportunity to pick it up, I went ahead and I picked it up. And I've been really, really happy with it. My daughter, who's 15 years old, loves shooting 45s. I will tell you some funny stories in the future about that. So she really enjoys firing this firearm. I love the birchwood with the World War I style grips, the World War I flat mainspring housing. That big, beautiful hammer on the end is great. I'll be honest with you, the sights leave a lot to be desired, which the 20 to 30 rounds that I've put through this has not gave me a lot of faith in how accurate I could be with it. But now that I've been starting to do the YouTube channel, I'm looking forward to getting this out to the range and maybe get you a range review on how that works and see if maybe I can dial in if I just put a few more rounds through it. This is the full Colt technical package came with this. This is by any stretch of the imagination just like a regular Colt. One of the cool things, which probably isn't, that awesome, is this one came with a Kongsberg magazine, which is just kind of neat, to make it kind of a complete package. It's got that lanyard loop on it down at the bottom, goes with it. Now, one of the other kind of interesting things about it is, except for the 1945 models, which there was only 920 of those made, there wasn't something called a Waffenamp. Now, the German military, when they would accept a pistol, they would put a Waffenamp, which is a very specific stamping on it. And I'll take my M37 Femoru, and this stamp right here, which is kind of an elongated eagle with 2 letters and 3 numbers, is called a Waffenamp, and that's a German military acceptance mark. Now again, these guns, that differs from this eagle over a swastika, and this Waffenamp is something that a lot of people like to look for when they're buying their German military pistols. So it is completely okay for these 1940s, 41, and 42 pistols. They should not have a Waffenamp on them. Only the 1945s should, because these guns weren't designed to leave Norway. It was for the Nazi war machine. It was for that effort, but you will not see a Waffenamp on it. Now, you will see the very traditional, so we have a serial number here, a serial number on the frame, a serial number on the slide stop, a serial number on the trigger, a serial number on the safety, a serial number on the grip safety, a serial number on the mainspring housing, and there's actually a serial number on the barrel on the underside. Now, I'm not going to take apart the gun to show you that serial number, but you can trust me that it's there. These are a great piece of militaria. It was made in Norway. I just showed you a Hungarian pistol. I have a Polish one and a Belgian one. Go ahead and hit me up in the comments if you'd like to see something about those pistols. This is just kind of a different and unique firearm, and I'm excited to be able to show you what one looks like in regular human hands, that you could possibly get one day with just a little bit of information. So if you like what I've brought to you today, please hit like. I would love to have you as a subscriber, and it's really awesome if you can put some comments down. Just anything you see that you'd like to know a little bit more about. If you want to see a video about one of those firearms that I've talked about, or if you just want to, I had a guy on my last video just tell me something that I misspoke on, which was great, because I'm not perfect in anything that I do, and those comments are great because he critiqued something that I said wrong, and I agreed with him, and we furthered the dialogue, which is awesome. So YouTube, this is The Bucket. I'm going to sign off for today, and again, I look forward to seeing you the next time.